Hey guys, today we're going to talk a little bit about after you finish up your education and you wind up getting certified or licensed, how much are you actually going to make in the field? That's a pretty good question, and one that hopefully you should have asked while you were working on your education, but I'm sure you're doing that all kind of at the same time. My name is Rick with Alcohol and Drug Counseling Studies Institute, where we turn negative past into positive futures. If you want to be part of the solution, make sure to click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell to make sure you don't miss any of our episodes. So here's the short answer. If you take a look online, you do a little bit of homework on Google, it's going to give you some information through Glassdoor or Indeed. And, I'm giving those as reference for you so you can do a little bit of homework yourself as well. But it'll say that the alcohol and drug or substance use disorder counselor in California is going to be between like $17 an hour up to $19 an hour. Okay. Now I'm sure that's really going to vary based on kind of what level you're at. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about connecting those and then actually what I've seen with my students through the years and even some current students that I have right now. We have some current students that are at the RADT or at the registration level. So they're still enrolled in school, kind of working on their credential. And I have some of them that are kind of at that 17, 18, 1850 an hour, mark. We have had some that have been, a little bit higher, but it's really going to depend on, kind of where you're looking for work, what type of treatment center you're seeking employment in. And I'll talk a little bit about that more later as well. When you get to the point where you've actually completed all of your work experience hours and you've completed your 3,000 and you're a CADC-I and you complete the other work experience hours and you're a CADC-II, now you're at that point where you're, completely credentialed and you're certified in the state. Now that's where I typically see students like minimum at that like 1850, typically going to be more around the 20, 21, 22 mark. I actually have a student currently that's working for one of the prisons out in California. He just finished his certification, passed his written exam, submitted all of his hours, and has a CADC-II. And right when he got that, he was able to get bumped up to about $21 an hour. Now I had a conversation with him the other day, and based on the program he's working for, going to be getting another $3, increase in the next 3 months. So that's usually what I'm seeing currently in the field. What I tell new counselors or people that are looking into the field is this, and this is some practical tips for me to you as somebody that is not ashamed to be able to receive compensation for the work that we do. Even though we happen to do something that we enjoy, something that we love, and it's a profession that people ultimately benefit from, have their life changed as a result of. So I think sometimes because of that, people feel like they have to settle for less. So my tip to you is that you're going to get paid what you're willing to accept. I remember when I was working for a program one time, it was I think about 2006, and the administrator had a meeting with all of the staff. He called us all into a meeting. And a lot of people were upset because everybody was talking to each other about their salary. Of course, that's something that you should never do on the job, right? Some people are new, some people have been there for years, everybody's getting paid something different. And so he said, listen, people need to stop talking about what they make or what they don't make and why they're not happy, because every one of you accepted your job to work here. And then he said this, and it made something click. He said, it's not my fault if you're poor negotiators. And so that's something that I would like to tell you. Based on where you are in your profession and where you are in the career ladder, what do you think you're willing to accept and maybe even deserve at the point where you are? Because there is no shame in accepting something that maybe you would not want, but something that would maybe help you meet your needs in addition to gaining the experience that you need, so that way you can ultimately later make more money. These days I have seen novice or newer counselors become a little less willing to play that long game. And I've seen them come right out of school or even in school. I'm like, I need to make, $57,000 or $68,000 a year. That might not happen right away for you. And so you need to look around based on what you want to be paid. So that might mean you might need to do a little bit more traveling. You might need to go out to Orange County or go out to Malibu. I mean, I remember we were working in the Los Angeles County area, and I actually had a student that drove all the way out to Rancho Mirage during internship just because she wanted to get a little bit more money, and she got an internship and a job at the Betty Ford Center during that time. And she was willing to go, that was an extra mile, but she was willing to do it to get what she deserved. Okay. So I will say that there's opportunities out there as long as you're willing to put in the work. Lastly, I'll say this, and this is again, I think an important tip in California that a lot of people shy away from. Absolutely, you want to have a good living wage when you first get started in the profession. If you can live off of that $18.50, $19, $20 an hour, if it's less and you're able to make it happen, good. Remember, only accept what you're willing to feel good about, because you never want to show up, especially in this profession, to a job that you are not inspired, excited about going to every single day. So if an unacceptable wage is going to interfere with you being as efficient as you could be, well, then by all means, do not accept that wage. So instead of knocking on 1 or 2 doors, you might need to knock on 27.3 doors in order to get that wage that you feel good about. But in California, because there's no licensure there, it's a great state for entrepreneurs that work in the field, meaning it does not necessarily require a master's degree and a license to work in our specific domain or area of expertise, working as a substance use disorder counselor or alcohol and drug counselor. And I think we ultimately will be there because most states do, require that. And I know, for example, CCAP has a LADAC and a license level. And so you can, of course, get those additional degrees and get that LADAC, and, based on that additional experience and degree and credentials, then I'm sure you'll be able to make more, towards that. So it's, as you grow, you'll make more and more and more. But in California, you're able to essentially at some point start your own practice, especially when you're at the certified level already. Maybe you could start off, opening up and studying under an interventionist or somebody with experience as a recovery coach. I have a student now that's actually been working as an administrator for quite some time, but now he's wanting to add the clinical piece, to his own personal skill set. He said so he can actually stop spending all the money on his certified counselors and have the skills himself. But he actually opened up his own treatment center now out there in California. So there's so many opportunities for you. So I would tell you this: don't get boxed in to worrying so much about how much somebody else can pay you. It doesn't matter to me if they pay you $49,000, $59,000, or $125,000 a year. It will never be enough for the work that we do working in our area of study, because there's so much involved. You'll never get what you deserve by working for somebody else, although that's where we all have to start. So I would say start there, learn everything that you can, work through those 12 core functions, learn how to be the best screener that you can be, learn how to do some, dynamic assessments and wonderful individualized treatment plans, and how to perfect your clinical, skills and group facilitation skills, and shadow your supervisor. As an instructor, I always tell my students, your supervisor should be your best friend on the job, not the one that you shy away from, because you want to learn how to do all of these roles. My thought as somebody that's been in the field for close to a couple of decades is that if you've worked in the field for over 5 or 10 years, you should be evolving through the profession, if not only to get additional experience, but in order for you to be able to have the additional compensation that you deserve for all the years you've been working in this industry. So if you want to learn a little bit more about how do we actually perform in this position, how to develop your actual clinical skills, because there is a true difference between theory and practice, what you learn in school and what you actually do. Everything looks easier on TV. And I'll tell you, working as a substance use disorder counselor is a lot more than just wearing your suit, shirt, tie, sweater vest, having the glasses on the tip of your nose, asking everybody, how do you feel about that? Right? So if you actually want to develop your skills, go ahead and take a look at this video, and I'll see you there.